Hey, what's going on, everyone? Joe Menza here, and we're going to do what I'm going to call spontaneous, fast, and loose watercolor. And so with this, we're not looking to try to paint the masterpiece. What we're looking to do is do something spontaneous, either from a photo in nature, do it as quickly as possible, and try to get some life into the piece, something that you could even take and recreate in an oil or an acrylic later. Now, I have my three really favorite brushes. I have the hockey brush, hake, as some people call it. This is the small Ron Ranson hake from Pro Art. This is a fan brush, Simply Simmons. I don't really, as long as the bristles are good. And then, of course, a rigger brush. And I have the, because people are going to ask, so I have to say, this is the portable painter or pocket painter. You can put the water in here and stand this up. It folds down, almost looks like an iPhone when you're done with it. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to look at a picture, and I'm looking at a picture off screen like a Pixabay type thing. And the object here is to try to do something quickly and spontaneous. Okay, so I'm going to start off, and the reason why we're using the hake is because this gives you the spontaneity that you're looking for. You're not going to do detail work with this, and it forces you to make shapes and not get caught up in detail. But the problem is a lot of people fuss with this anyway, so because it's not detail. But once you get in the swing of it, that this particular brush is for painting loose, and you paint in a way like you don't care, then you can start really having some fun with this brush. So let's jump into the Arteza Sketchbook. Now you can do this a variety of ways. You can start off and you can wet the paper. Boom, 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 wet the paper down. Let it sit for a few seconds. We don't have that kind of time here. You can throw in this case, there's not much sky here. So we're just going to, let's just put a little of this raw sienna in here. And then come in with a little bit of blue. It could be a dirty blue, it's fine, doesn't really matter. And then we're gonna grab some, and you wanna do this quickly, don't think about it too long. Get some brown and some blue mixed together here, and we'll put in a bit of a mountain back in here. Just shape it in there. Look at your subject, shape it in there. Don't worry about a lot of things if a lot of things happen. And what catches your eye in the painting, that's what's more, in the actual subject, is more important. So we'll make this a little bit darker here, come down, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in the trees look a little yellowy red. Grab a little bit of this, a little bit of this pinkish color here, red it up a little bit. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to switch over because I want to get a little bit more, not a lot of detail, but I'm going to switch over to this fan brush, and well, that's not, I wanted a little redder, maybe a little more yellowy. There we go, like this. Okay, and these are some trees that are in here. You know what? It was going to go up into there, but I decided because this is already here, I wanted to dry. I'm just going to spontaneously put this in almost like some shrubbery here. We'll leave a little bit of space. And then for the bottom portion, don't forget to have a little towel nearby. And then you can tap off the excess off your brush. So for the bottom part, we're going to just throw in this. And maybe a little, so you got to pick out a few things to specifically look at. Put a little bit of brown in there to specifically look at that you're going to focus on. Let's use this thing that came off of the clip and scraping some rocks over here. Boom, boom, boom. So we have some rocks on the bottom. Now for me, what I see in the picture and what I see here, this isn't really thrilling me. Maybe if I take and scrape away some, let's do this a little bit darker here. Put some darker shades into the mountains. See if we can make this any more appealing. because I'm really not feeling it right now. And we'll take the end of this and we'll just scrape in. There we go, that's a little better. Get a little bit of dark and just tap in a little bit. Then let's take and add something to it. See, this is when we can actually play and figure out. Like, let's say we want to put in some trees over the top of this. Is that something that works? Give it a little bit more. And let's do this. Let's grab something. Let's get a little yellow in there. Let's pop in a big tree over here. This isn't in the original picture, but a little bit more water in there. But it needs something to sort of offset it. And then maybe a little more scraping here. And again, you're not looking for like a perfect masterpiece here. You're looking for something that, hey, this looks really good. I'm going to do this again. I'm going to take my time with it. And really turn this into something. Let's throw a few more rocks down in here. See if we can get anything out of this that I might like. And so if you feel like, hey, I'm going to stop here, this is really not bringing about anything. I think the problem within here is the red. A lot of times I'll jump over to my white and I'll pop in a little bit of white. Clean my brush real good. And sometimes adding a bit of white brings about a certain level of spontaneity too. Bring this in here by this tree. Let's change this up. Let's make this a little, almost like maybe it's watery here. We're just trying to get something that is unique and spontaneous. I didn't like what I came up with the first time. I thought it was actually pretty awful. And that's why sometimes I'll reach for my white and let my white do a little, add a little bit of, see all the little special effects you can come up with now. You know, you can have, put a little bit of, you know, now you're blending in with this white. Put a little bit of blue in down here. And before you know it, you might have something that you, this is how I play, you know, this is how I go. And maybe I let this dry a little bit, but I'm trying to keep this spontaneous and move this video so it's not entirely long. I'll put a little bit of white on here, put a little of that into the mountain here. You could wait till it dries, is okay. Maybe I'll put even a little bit more down in here. Just want to make this tree a little bushier. And other things that you can do too is, if you want a little more texture, you can come in and dab out a little bit. Dab out a little bit in here. And when you're done from your original subject, you may have something completely different than you even realized. Let's put a little more blue in this. I really love using the white, and you know, they said not to use white. Who is they? I'm not really sure, but I was told not to use white. But for me, I really enjoy it. And see, now we have something, there's some uniqueness here that I'm liking now. And we'll let this dry, and I'll come back and I'll look at it, and we'll see if there's anything else that we can do to it. But this is all explorative, to see what you can play and come up with something actually unique. It's actually when you start to panic, you're doing a painting, you're like, oh, this isn't good, I need to do something, and you're feeling that, oh, I don't like it, what can I do? The juices start to flow, and you start to kind of get desperate and say, okay, this is the moment, this is the turning moment, and you go in and you boom, 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 you grab some white, or you grab this and you say, I'm gonna do this, and that's when the artistic process really is in full swing. That's like the greatest moment, even though it feels like the worst moment, is the greatest moment in the artistic process. So I'm coming back to this now, and it's nearly dry, but I can tell you, there's some cool things that have happened in here. This brownie looking sky I'm not real wild about, so I'm thinking, well, let's see. I can make a little bit more. I can't really see here, but here, I'll turn this around. And I have a couple other areas here. This is like a gray blue. I can make this blue as I want. You got to be careful, because you do something like this and it could affect the whole thing, but you can come back in here and put, just to add a little bit more blue to the subject. And just to kind of blue that up a little bit. And kind of go around that. You can leave a little bit of this in here. Nobody really knows if that's part of the mountain. You can kind of shape that in if you want to. And now it has a little bit more blue here, a little bit more blue here. And I think it looks kind of cool. Let me take this camera and kind of get down into this. You see all the neat things we got happening here, because we got spontaneous, a little bit of desperation, and this is the, I'm going to leave this here, and later on I could always, you know, turn this into something else, or, you know, you can rip it out of the book, put a little frame on it, and that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.